I spent a year planning our dream anniversary trip. Then my girlfriend gave my first-class seat to her brother. Hi, I'm Max. I'm 31. And 5 days ago, I drove my girlfriend and her unemployed brother to the airport for a trip I'd spent over a year planning, and then completely erased them from my life before the plane even landed. Let me back up. We'd been together 5.5 years. Her name's Kira. On paper, she was everything I wanted: smart, charismatic, scary good at Scrabble. But she came with two permanent attachments: her emotionally fragile brother Mason and her mom Lorraine, who had the financial discipline of a toddler in a candy store. This trip? It was supposed to be our anniversary celebration. 2 weeks in Iceland. Northern Lights. Hot springs. Glacier hikes. I'd spent 11 months saving, planning every detail. Flights, hotels, the photography tour with the Huskies. $17,000 all in. The night before we left, I got the notification. Airline app. Seat changed. Passenger updated. I was confused for maybe 4 seconds. Then I saw it. Passenger removed. Max. Passenger added. Mason. I stood in the kitchen holding my phone like it was on fire. Kira walked in, calm as a yoga instructor on Xanax, still wet from the shower, folding clothes into the suitcase I bought her last Christmas. She didn't even look up. Mason's going through a really dark time, she said casually. This trip could help him heal. You're stable. He's not. You can handle disappointment. He can't. Like I was a tree stump she could just tie a balloon to and walk away from. You gave my first-class seat to your brother? She finally looked up. No guilt, just mild annoyance. Max, don't be dramatic. Be a man about it. She even asked if I could drive them to the airport. I said yes. And then I executed the cleanest, most satisfying breakup evacuation in human history. The drive to the airport was one of those moments where time slows down, and you start noticing things you normally wouldn't, like the way Mason kept fiddling with my car's climate control like he owned the thing, or how Kira was texting nonstop, probably updating her mom about how wonderfully supportive I was being. Mason had the nerve to complain about the early flight. God, why do international flights always leave so early? He whined from the front seat, my seat, as he adjusted the lumbar support. Hope the hotel has decent pillows. My neck's been wrecked since I fell off Mom's futon. He didn't say thank you. Not for the ride. Not for the $4,200 ticket he was now holding with my name scratched off. Not for the 5-star itinerary designed to celebrate a relationship he'd openly mocked at every Thanksgiving. Kira, from the back seat, tossed out little passive-aggressive comments like confetti. Make sure you water the succulents while I'm gone. They're really sensitive to energy shifts. Right. The plants were sensitive. But apparently, I wasn't. We pulled up to the terminal. I popped the trunk. Didn't get out. Just sat there, eyes locked on the terminal ahead like it owed me an apology. Mason turned. You gonna help with the bags? My back hurts, I said flatly. You got it. Kira leaned forward and kissed me on the cheek, dry, paper-light, like she was saying goodbye to a reliable coworker. Thanks, babe. Don't wait up when I get back. Mom's picking us up. You probably have work anyway. Yeah, I said. Lots of work. They didn't look back once. I watched them disappear into the terminal. Then I drove straight to our leasing office. And that's when things got fun. Our lease had a beautiful little clause Kira never paid attention to, because reading fine print wasn't really her thing unless it was the astrology section of a magazine. I was the sole leaseholder. Kira was listed as an occupant. And occupants don't get a vote when the primary tenant decides to nuke the lease from orbit. At 9:01 a.m., I walked into the leasing office, handed over a check for the 2-month early termination fee, and signed the papers. The manager blinked at me, coffee halfway to his mouth. Everything okay? More than okay, I said. I'm reclaiming my peace. But what about your girlfriend? She's not on the lease. She'll be informed shortly. Technically, she had 48 hours to vacate once the lease was terminated. But I wasn't done. I called my best friend Ethan, warehouse king, amateur boxer, rides a motorcycle with no helmet because he claims his skull is already mostly metal. He picked up on the first ring. She did it again, I said. Gave my Iceland ticket to Mason. Long pause. Then I'm grabbing the truck. We cleaned that apartment out in 2 days. When I say everything, I mean everything. If it had a price tag and a memory attached to it, it was mine. The TV? Mine. The $900 espresso machine she said gave her coffee anxiety? Mine. The pink Himalayan salt? Into the box. We weren't petty. We were surgical. I even took the shower curtain rings. I took the router, the light bulbs, the batteries from the remotes. I took the good pans. I took the backup pans. I left her the frying pan she once set on fire trying to intuitively cook eggs. The place looked like a crime scene where the thief only stole joy. Her crystals were still on the floor where her nightstand had been. Her makeup was in the bathroom, now dark, because I took the smart bulbs too. By the time we finished, there wasn't even a fork left to be passive-aggressive with. She was still midair when her life got deleted. By Saturday night, I was fully moved into Ethan's guest house. Cozy, quiet, and crucially, 100% Mason-free. Sunday morning, I woke up at 8 a.m. to the sound of birds. Real ones. Not the fake nature sound alarm Kira used that made every morning feel like being trapped in a yoga retreat with a hangover. I checked my phone. Silence. Until Monday. That's when the email started. Subject: where are you? Max, my phone isn't working. The hotel says the credit card for incidentals was declined. I'm trying to call you, but it goes straight to voicemail. Mason is panicking because the spa won't take cash. Call me immediately. This isn't funny. I deleted it. 2 hours later, Max, seriously. The hotel's threatening to kick us out if we don't update the payment. We thought you were still covering it. I don't have a high enough limit for the bar tab. Fix this. Trash. By Wednesday, her tone changed. Babe, I'm sorry. I was overwhelmed. I didn't mean for things to go like that. Please turn our phones back on. We're stuck at the train station and Mason can't access his travel blog because it's linked to your number. I'm scared. That one almost got me. Almost. But then I remembered her patting my cheek and saying, be a man about it. So I was. I set up a filter in Gmail. Every email from her or her mom now dropped silently into a folder called trash. Then Sunday afternoon came. I was at the grocery store when Ethan's doorbell rang. Not Kira. Her mom. Lorraine. Pounding on the door like the FBI. Ethan's Ring camera caught the whole thing. Max, I know you're in there. You stranded my children in a foreign country, you monster. Ethan opened the door wearing his I bench press betrayal tank top. Brad doesn't live here, he said calmly. I know he's here. He stole everything. Correction, Ethan said. He took everything he paid for, including the salt. Now get off my porch or I call the cops, for trespassing and for being an enabler. I watched the footage that night with a beer in hand. Best movie I've ever seen. I finally saw her in person the following Friday. I was walking to my car after work when I noticed a figure leaning against it like a sad music video extra. Same clothes she left in. Hair a frizzy mess. Eyes like she hadn't slept since Iceland. You. She spat the moment she saw me. Hey, Kira, I said, unlocking the door. She rushed toward me and slammed her palm against the window before I could open it. How could you do this to me? To us? I paused. You mean besides funding a luxury Nordic vacation for you and your emotionally unstable sibling? I came home to nothing, Max, she cried. The lease was terminated, my key didn't work, my stuff was gone. I had to sleep at my mom's. With Mason. On a beanbag. I stared at her. Family comes first, remember? She froze. What? You told me that. Over and over. Family first. So I stepped aside. I figured I wasn't family. I was just the finance department. You're twisting my words, she snapped. This was about one trip. You overreacted. No, I said, unlocking the door again. This was about everything. You gave away something that was supposed to be ours. Our celebration. Our escape. And you didn't even ask. You informed me. Her lip quivered. I love you, she said, grabbing my arm. We can fix this. I'll get a job. I'll pay you back. I gently pulled her hand off my jacket like it was lint. No, you won't. You'll find another Max to pay for the next Mason emergency. But the Bank of Max is permanently closed. Her voice cracked. Where am I supposed to go? I got in the car and looked at her through the glass. You've got your family, I said. That's what matters, right? And then I drove away. Didn't look back. Didn't need to. The fallout came fast, and it was glorious. First, she tried to sue me. Claimed I evicted her illegally. That I left her homeless and traumatized. My lawyer, Ethan's cousin, who looks like he eats court filings for breakfast, shut it down in 11 minutes. She's not on the lease, Your Honor, he said. Hasn't paid rent in over 2 years. The judge blinked. Why exactly do you believe you're entitled to an apartment you didn't pay for? She didn't have an answer. Just tears and a shaky voice, which, as it turns out, are not legal currency. Then she went for the social media route. Instagram post. Sometimes the people you love the most turn out to be the coldest. I was abandoned in a foreign country with no warning, no support, and no love. Cue the violin. Unfortunately for her, we had mutual friends. And mutual friends remember details. Wait, didn't Max pay for the whole trip? Wasn't it your anniversary? Why was your brother there? And just like that, the narrative collapsed like a flan in a cupboard. She quietly deleted all her accounts by the end of the week. I heard through the grapevine that Mason crashed the rental car in Reykjavik and they're still making payments to the insurance company. She moved back in with her mom. 3 adults. 2 bedrooms. 1 space heater that screams like a dying goose. Lorraine calls her lazy. Mason borrows money she doesn't have. She's miserable. Meanwhile, I saved $24,000 in the 6 months that followed. Turns out when you're not supporting a family of freeloaders with spa addictions, you can build real wealth. I booked a solo trip. Not to Iceland. Felt tainted. New Zealand. 2 weeks. Silence. Mountains. 0 Mason. New Zealand was everything Iceland was supposed to be, but better. Not just the scenery, though that was unreal. Fjords like postcards. Air so clean it felt filtered. Locals who greeted you like a long-lost cousin instead of a walking ATM. But what made it magical was the quiet. No notifications. No drama. No Max. Mason needs dental work? Or can you Venmo my mom for groceries? Texts. Just me. Hiking boots. A backpack. And freedom. Somewhere between Queenstown and Milford Sound, I met someone. Her name was Elena. Australian. Sharp as a tack. Funny in that dry, under-your-breath way that catches you off guard. We were both sitting alone on a sunrise tour, sipping terrible hostel coffee from tin mugs. She asked me if I was running from something. I said no. Then paused. Actually, I said, I think I was running to something. We hiked together. She didn't complain once. Carried her own gear. Offered to split the cab to the next trailhead and the lunch bill. At one point, I instinctively reached for the check, and she stopped me with a gentle hand. I've got this, she said. You get the next one. I almost proposed on the spot, but I didn't. I'm taking it slow. Not because I'm afraid, just because it feels good to have control again. To breathe. We've messaged since. Nothing intense. Just easy. No pressure. No manipulation. No freeloading siblings. Just 2 people, enjoying each other. I came home to an apartment that still had batteries in the remotes. Sold exactly where I left it. My name on the lease. My life finally mine. And for the first time in years, I didn't flinch when the doorbell rang. I used to think love meant sacrifice. Like, if you really cared about someone, you'd carry the load, patch the holes, pay the bill, drive the getaway car, and say thank you when they handed you their mess like it was a gift. Turns out, that's not love. That's codependency with a guilt-based rewards program. Now, I do things differently. I wake up in a place I chose, decorated with stuff I paid for, that no one can reassign to their brother because he's going through it. I have peace. I have steak in the fridge and no one telling me it's low vibrational. I have a calendar with actual white space in it. A savings account that isn't being siphoned to fund someone else's midlife meltdown at 28. And I have one rule now. If I'm not in the pilot's seat, I don't get on the plane. Because love shouldn't feel like turbulence every time someone else gets uncomfortable. It should feel like a window seat, safe, steady, with a view that reminds you why you're headed where you're going. Kira reached out once more. A single text. I miss what we had. I didn't respond. Because what we had was a lesson. And I've already graduated. I don't hate her. I don't even wish her ill. I hope she finds someone whose love language is solving chaos. I just know it won't be me. I'm too busy flying solo. And damn, it feels good up here. Hi, I'm Max. Still 31. Still happily solo. And I just did something I never thought I'd do again. I soft-launched someone on Instagram. I know. Cringe. But hear me out. It was just a photo. A coffee cup. 2 hands. No tags. No faces. But if you looked closely, you could see a bit of her cardigan sleeve. Dark green. Soft wool. The kind people only wear when they actually read books. Her name's Elena. We met in New Zealand, hiking the Routeburn Track, somewhere between a glacier and a conversation about our worst exes. She said hers once tried to monetize his panic attacks. I said mine turned our anniversary trip into her brother's personal healing retreat. It was meant to be a fling. a travel spark. But here we are, 3 months later, and she's flying in to visit. She's not moving in. God, no. I've set more boundaries than a medieval castle. But she's staying for a week. 7 days. 1 toothbrush. No drawer. Just a test drive. And I was doing great. Until my phone buzzed with a new message from a name I deleted months ago. Kira. 1 word. Really. No context. No follow-up. Just really. Like she'd just seen the photo. And just like that, the ghost came knocking. I stared at the message like it might self-destruct if I touched it. Really. No punctuation. No emoji. Just the kind of passive-aggressive digital grenade that makes your spine tense up even if you know you owe her absolutely nothing. I didn't reply. Because here's the thing. I've grown. Old Max. He'd have drafted a 4-paragraph explanation about how this isn't what it looks like, and I never meant to hurt you. New Max? New Max muted the conversation and went to go fluff the guest pillows. Elena was landing in 4 hours. This wasn't just a visit. It was the first time I was letting someone into my space since the eviction of 26. I'd even cleaned behind the fridge. Behind the fridge. That's commitment. She arrived wearing the same green cardigan from the photo, tote bag slung over one shoulder, airport buns slightly falling apart, and that low-key smile like she already knew this was going to be good. Hey, she said softly when I opened the door. And then, without hesitation, she handed me a box of groceries. I brought oat milk and real maple syrup. The fake stuff gives me trust issues. I laughed, harder than I had in months. We settled into a rhythm like we'd been doing this for years. I cooked. She made playlists. We both hated cilantro, loved foreign documentaries, and could sit in silence without it feeling awkward. But then, on night 3, things shifted. We were watching a movie when Elena reached for my phone to Google an actor. It lit up. Kira, 3 unread messages. She froze. Do I want to know who that is? I took a breath and said, probably not, but I'll tell you anyway. She's my ex, I said, setting the phone down between us like a neutral party in a hostage negotiation. The ex? Elena asked, eyebrows raised, but not in judgment. More like curiosity, with a side of wariness. Yeah, the one who gave my international first-class seat to her brother because he was going through it. That ex. Elena blinked. Oh, that story wasn't hypothetical? I shook my head. Nope, that was my real life. Iceland. $17,000. Therapy-inducing levels of betrayal. She didn't say anything right away, just leaned back on the couch and sipped her tea. It was lemon ginger, because apparently she travels with her own tea bags like some kind of emotional support wizard. After a moment, she spoke. I'm not mad, she said, but I do have one rule. Okay, if ghosts come back from the dead, you don't feed them. No replies. No energy. No invitations to haunt. I smiled. That's fair. I've got a similar policy about raccoons. She laughed. Good. Because I've done the whole, let's be mature and reconnect with our toxic exes dance. It never ends in healing. It ends in 2 people crying in a Hyundai. I nodded. Understood. I grabbed my phone, opened the thread, and blocked the number. Done, I said. Elena raised her mug. To ghost-proofing your life. We clinked tea and oat milk like champagne. But the truth was, something about Kira's message still buzzed under my skin. Not guilt. Not temptation. Just unfinished static. And I had a feeling the static wasn't done with me yet. The static showed up the next day, in person. I was in the lobby grabbing a package. Elena had Amazon Prime me a milk frother because your lattes deserve better. When I turned around, and there she was. Kira. In a hoodie I didn't recognize, holding a giant tote bag that screamed, emotional baggage, but make it fashion. Hi, she said, like this was a normal coincidence and not a plot twist waiting to happen. My brain short-circuited. Did you follow me here? She had the decency to look sheepish. No, I remembered where you lived. That's worse. I just wanted to talk, she said. Not yell, not beg, just talk. I stared at her. Same tired eyes. Same performance-level vulnerability. But also not quite the same. She looked smaller. Not physically, just quieter. Like the volume had been turned down. You have 5 minutes, I said, stepping aside. She followed me out to the bench by the courtyard. Sat on the edge like she didn't quite trust the space to hold her. I saw the photo, she said. I said nothing. I felt like I couldn't breathe. And not because I'm mad or jealous or even heartbroken. Just because it finally hit me. I lost someone who made life easy, and I replaced him with chaos. I blinked. Kira, you replaced me with your brother. She winced. I know. And it was stupid. I was stupid. I thought love meant sacrifice. I thought you'd stay no matter how badly I treated you, because that's what family does. But you were never treated like family. You were treated like a resource. I nodded slowly. That's accurate. And now you're happy. I can see it. And I hate that I had to lose you to realize how much you mattered. She looked up at me, eyes glassy. I'm not here to win you back. I swear. I just needed to say that out loud. For a second, I didn't know what to say. Then I asked, are you okay? Her voice cracked. No, but I'm working on it. And for the first time in a long, long time, I believed her. Kira left quietly, without drama, which might have been the most growth I'd ever seen from her. I sat on that bench for a long time after she walked away. Not sad, not tempted, just reflective. Elena came downstairs 20 minutes later, holding 2 mugs. I figured you needed this, she said, handing me coffee with perfect foam. And possibly a reality check. I chuckled. She just wanted closure. She said, settling beside me. You good? Yeah, actually really good. She nodded. Good. Because I like you, Max. But I like me more. And I won't play second to a ghost. I looked at her, straight in the eyes. You're not second to anything. And I meant it. The rest of her visit was easy. Like exhaling after holding your breath too long. We went for walks. Made pancakes. Talked about the kind of stuff you don't usually share until month 6. Things that mattered. Elena flew back to Sydney the next Monday. We didn't say anything dramatic at the gate. Just a kiss, a wink, and a see you soon. Back home, my apartment felt different. Not empty, just full of potential. I started painting again. I started sleeping better. I stopped mentally budgeting for other people's crises. Kira never reached out again, and I never looked her up. Sometimes, the best closure isn't a conversation. It's the silence that follows a boundary finally held. It's been 5 months. Elena's coming back next week. Not for a visit. For good. We're not rushing. She's getting her own place nearby. No drawers, no keys, no merged streaming accounts, yet. Just 2 people building something slowly, deliberately, without ghosts in the foundation. Last week, she posted a picture of us. Full face. Big smiles. No mystery. I didn't flinch. I didn't worry about who saw it. Because when you've done the work to rebuild your life brick by brick, without apology, without compromise, you don't hide anymore. You live. And you love like someone who finally knows the difference between being needed and being chosen. And I'll take chosen every damn time.